Honorable Speaker, answer Dilta Purmane, and this is an issue, one of the questions is relating to the time in the NEP. Time, which you have answered in C. Honorable Speaker, as per the NCF, Section 4.3, consideration for time allocation across preparatory, middle and secondary stages, and I'll just read this, a small thing. The annual working year for schools has 220 instructions, school going days after taking into consideration national holidays, term breaks and vacation. Of these 220 days, around 20 days may be considered for assessments and other assessment related activities across stages. Another 20 days may be set aside for school events and other similar activities. Therefore, this is important, a safe estimate can be of 180 days of instruction time across the 3 stages at the school. Given the range of subjects in different stages and the reasonable hours students can spend in a school, a working school year would have around 34 working weeks of around 29 hours of instruction week. Ata, if it is 34 weeks into 29 hours, it becomes 986 hours. Now, as per our school education rules, we have 33-hour week which is being given against 21 hours prescribed under Rule 20. Rule 20 of School Education Rules says 21 hours per week, 18 academic and 3 non-academic. But I don't know how it's been made 33 hours a week. The NCRF proposes a credit-based system. And in 1 credit is equal to 15 hours, and 1 credit for theory, and 1 credit is 30 hours for practical. This is how it's going on. Now the question is, there's also what we have 10 bagless days. 10 bagless days. More bag in Yopacheni, it is without bag. So that is also part of the NEP system. Now how do you rationalize this against this 1,200 days, 200 hours which you are speaking of learning, which you have given in your answer, though you are saying that this is not limited to classroom activities and instruction alone. On your next page you have answered that, page 3. So how do you rationalize all these timings which can work out here?
Speaker sir, आम्ही NEP 2020 ज्या पद्धतीत इम्प्लिमेंट केल्या आणि हे इम्प्लिमेंट करता असताना म्हणजे पुराय टेक्स्ट बुक्स पूर्ण रॅशनलाइज करता असताना promoting the competency based learning, encouraging the activity driven and experiential approaches and establishing the student to develop the core skills, conceptualizing the understandings and hands-on training of the real life experience and moving away from the route of the memorization. ह्या हातूंतल्यान आमी तांच्यांनी सांगला त्या प्रमाणे तो रॅशनलाइज करता आसतना ही अवर्स कशा पद्धतीत डिवायड करतले विचारता. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन म्हणजे ॲट प्रेझेंट आमचे पुराय एड्युकेशन डिपार्टमेंट जे आसा पळय न्ही हाजेर एक्चुअली ही 1,200 अवर्स आर नॉट फॉर द टीचिंग अवर्स but it is for the learning hours. It's an assessment filled in the execution will be included into the 1,200 hours.
I say one thing, children should not be overstressed. Children should also have relaxation time. Children should have time to go home and do something else. If you are trying to fix this time within that where they have nothing else but get exhausted, the poor children will suffer physically and mentally. I think I'm not saying that this system may not be bad. We are also not opposing NEP, but what we are saying, try to fit something to rationalize the timing so that without sitting in office, but work it out in the practicalities which children will suffer. That's the only thing what on the first point.
Speaker sir, हाज्या खातीर हांव मुद्दामून म्हणटलो की आमी ह्या NEPत हँड्स ऑन एक्टिविटी आनी प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग हाजेर आमी फोकस केला. आमी त्या प्रमाणे रिड्यूस द एकाडेमिक बर्डन ऑन द स्टुडंट्स हाजेरूय आसा and we are ensuring the joyful, stress-free and experiential learning environmental हाजेर चड मोठो फोकस केला. The aligned teaching learning practices with the holistic development vision of NEP 2020 आसा. हे एंटायर NEP कशा पद्धतीत घालप and which is in class म्हणजे स्टँडर्ड वायज ताजो विचार आनी प्रॅक्टिकली हे करपाचो आमचो प्रयोग सुरू आसा.
आता NEP फकत education of classroom text म्हूण तेश कोन्ना. It is also of other allied things like arts, music, सगळे आसा थिंगा, and that is part of your system. So my next question is, what is the infrastructure available in the schools to make these facilities available for the children? Nala garos and those at home will be considered as timing for this. How do you propose to find this solution to this? And ek sangta, in your answer, one moment, before you answer, in answer to 2D, you have spoken about all these schools have been equipped with necessary equipment to set up their labs for the successful implementation of QF. NSQF are courses under computers and all that. We are not talking of computer labs. Any computer labs are zatle, one class will go to the computer lab. What does the rest of the school do? How do they manage? They require a restroom, they require a recreation room, and how they require, of course, toilets and other things are there. But how do you manage this kind in the setup, in the infrastructure which is there?
स्पीकर सर, आमी ह्या गोंयांत सिस्टम जी आसा इट इज एन गव्हर्मेंट स्कूल आणि गव्हर्मेंट एडेड स्कूल. गव्हर्मेंट स्कूल आसा ताच्या खातीर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर तयार करपा खातीर आमी ऑलरेडी सुरवात केला आणि गव्हर्मेंट एडेड स्कूल आसा तांच्या मॅनेजमेंटाक आमी इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स दिला की ह्या पद्दतीची एनईपी इम्प्लिमेंट करता आसतना आमकां वेरियस टायप्स ऑफ इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो रेडी जाय तो तेंच्यांनी रेडी करपाचो हें तांकां कळयलां. स्पीकर सर, हे सगळें सांगता आसतना तांच्यांनी जो NSQF जो मुद्दा म्हणून म्हटलो, इट इज नॉट ओनली द कंप्युटर बट देर इज अ डिफरंट सब्जेक्ट. तातूंतल्यान जवळपास म्हणजे मेकॅनिक पासून दॅट इवन दो आमी पळयता की हेल्थ कोर्स, परत ताज्या उपरांत कॉम्प्युटर कोर्स, अशा वेगवेगळ्या पद्दतीचे सब्जेक्ट जे आसा हे इंट्रोड्यूस केल्या आणि ते सब्जेक्ट क्लासरुमानूय तांकां प्रॅक्टिकल ट्रेनिंग त्या सब्जेक्टाची ही दिता. इवन द फूड प्रोसेसिंग अशा पद्दतीचे डिफरंट ट्रेनिंग जे आसा ह्यो तांकां क्लासरूम वायज आमी दिता आनी देन इट इज अ प्रॅक्टिकली इट इज पॉसिबल.
No, what you are saying is special courses you are giving them the infrastructure and the facilities. I'm not on that. It's very good and welcome. Question is about recreation, resting, because if you are keeping children in the school for a longer time, they can't go on the ground and be sitting. Now look at the monsoon, they can't go there. Where do they go? How do they have space? That is what I'm saying. Or you can say we will do something in the near future about it, but it can't be that you leave them in the lurch.
स्पीकर सर, तांचे एक म्हणणे बरोबर आसा की हो एंटायर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर आमी रेडी करपाक जाय आनी ताकाच लागून आमी कॉम्प्लेक्सांचेर भर दिता. म्हणजे ज्या जाग्याचेर आमचे सेकंडरी स्कूल आसा, आमचे प्रायमरी स्कूल आसा, हायर सेकंडरी आसा आनी विशेष करून थंयसर रेस्टरूम, टॉयलेट्स पासून ग्राउंड ह्यो सगळ्यो फॅसिलिटीज आसा अशे कॉम्प्लेक्सीस तयार करप. स्पेशली हांव मेन्शन करता आसतना तुमचे आदर्श हायस्कूलचो काणकोणा जो आसा पळय न्ही, दॅट इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट मॉडल म्हणपाक काय हरकत ना. इट इज रेजिडेन्शियल कम स्कूल जे आसा, नो डावट विथ द गव्हर्मेंट ऑफ हेल्प तुमी ते खूब बऱ्या पद्दतीन चलयता. फ्रॉम द प्री प्रायमरी टू द अप टू द 12th स्टँडर्ड ताज्यो सगळ्यो फॅसिलिटीज थंयसर आसा. बट ह्यो फॅसिलिटीज बाकीच्या सगळ्या स्कुलांनी जरी ना जाल्यो म्हणजे तरी आमी ज्या ज्या जाग्याचेर आमकां सपोर्ट करपाक मेळटा किंवा ज्या ज्या जाग्याचेर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेडी करपाक मेळटा तो गव्हर्मेंट स्कुलांनी फ्रॉम द 1st स्टँडर्ड टू द 12th स्टँडर्ड हो रेडी करपाक घेतला आणि येता त्या काही पिरियडात हो रेडी जातलो.
And you have to give grants also for that.
Pardon?
Grants also will have to be given for that.
Yes, in future we are thinking.
Right. Okay, now the last question which I have got. आता reduction of syllabus म्हणतात so as to fit within the time frame. New textbooks you have already given and introduced for 6th standard onwards. But in your circular of 13th, I'll just tell exact date, 13th February 2025, the Director of Education has said, these are the words, same existing textbooks will be used for grades 9 and 10. आता 9th and 10th, same old books, आडले झाले आता. They have certain number of chapters which have to be completed within the academic year, which means you are not reducing it, which you are reduced in the other books which are newly introduced. But here you are not reduced. How do you work this out to reduce this so that children do not have to rush through, finish it for the sake of saying I finished from first to end, but at the end they are totally stressed out.
स्पीकर सर, ह्या फावटी आमी 6th एनईपी इंट्रोड्यूस केल्या आणि 6th आमी नवीन बुक जो तो इंट्रोड्यूस केला. इट इज नॉट फॉर द 7th and 8th. 9th स्टँडर्डात आमी हे बुक सगळे जे इंट्रोड्यूस केल्ले ते लास्ट इयर इंट्रोड्यूस केल्ले आणि लास्ट इयर आता 10thकूय आमी ते इंट्रोड्यूस करता.
They are not introduced, they are continued.
It is continued.
So the old books are continued. You are not introduced new books.
We are in 6th
SCRT
standard.
has not given the books. NCRT has not
SCRT
given.
is giving the book for the 6th standard this.
Oy.
6th आमी
Sixth दिले.
7th आणि 8th आमी टच करू
ना,
ताका
आणि
नवीन
ninth
बुक
ना.
6th 7th आणि 8th नवीन बुक ना
ना.
तेच कंटिन्यू करपाचे. फॉर द 9th स्टँडर्ड वी हैव गिवन द बुक.
No, not given.
Existing book.
Existing, so
Existing
old one.
book.
So how do you work that out? Because the books have got longer chapters, more chapters, which cannot be taught in that number of hours.
स्पीकर सर, 9th आमी जे इंट्रोड्यूस केला पळय न्ही ते एक्झिस्टिंग बुक्साचेर केला. नवीन बुक्स जे आसा पळय न्ही हे आमी नेक्स्ट इयरच्यान इंट्रोड्यूस करतले.